Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Karin falls in love with Naruto during retrieval mission, part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. The nexus point hummed as the river of chakra swirled around it, diving in and out of the massive stone building. It was both the most impressive and most destroyed building, with half of its massive dome missing. It was asymmetrical in its design with soft flowing curves crashing into harsh geometrical shapes that were only compounded by the destruction that had been wrought. The ground was littered with mass spirals made from smoothed river stone that also seemed to draw the chakra into something. It called to her, whatever was inside of there was calling to her. Karin. She heard Naruto call after her. She ignored him, walking forward intent on her goal. Are you okay? Yay. I'm fine. She turned to look at him. She couldn't see his chakra and it was almost impossible to see him through the swirling tides that engulfed both of them. Don't you feel that though? That energy? I guess. Naruto shrugged, following after her. Once they were within the threshold of the building it gave off a dull hum, and dull blue lights lit up the hallway, one of the few straight paths in the entire city. Lining both sides of the hallway were corpses. It wasn't the first they had seen here, but it was the first time they saw ninja. Each had a simple spiral carved into a headband or piece of armor. There were no enemies, no foreign ninja, no missing nin. All of the corpses here were ninja loyal to their village killed by another ninja loyal to the village. What happened here? Karin wasn't sure which one of them asked that question. But neither one could know for certain. There is something that would be lost to annals of time. The light of the midday sun shined through the shattered dome, bathing the room in a warm light, highlighting the colorful room that looked like 6 rainbows had a party and puked all over everything. Art and seals became one in here, with massive murals being made of dozens of intertwining seals. And it all led to the back, where a throne made of dull green glass sat empty. At its feet were several corpses that looked to have been thrown aside. When she was but a few feet away, the throne pulsed and the chakra in the air fell towards it like a wave. The entire seal shook. It left Karin feeling breathless. Her hair standing on end as her entire body tingled with static electricity. This was what was calling her. This throne. Naruto stood next to her, equally breathless and just as much in awe of the seat. I kind of want to sit on it. He walked past her, striding with that half overly confident, half completely stupid gait he had when he was doing something stupid. When he touched the throne, it pulsed and a warning flailed in Karin's mind. Wait, Naruto, don't. Too late. The throne shined red, the air charged with electricity, and thunderstruck, exploding at the feet of Naruto, sending him tumbling backward. His body twitching. Ow. Naruto groaned, his face buried in the ground. What the hell is wrong with that thing? I just wanted to sit on it. I think. Karin swallowed. I think only an Uzumaki can sit on it, or at least I think only I can sit on it. Wait, what are you? She ignored Naruto and pressed forward, confident that the throne was for her. That it was calling to her and her alone. He just happened to overhear. This was the birthplace of the Uzumaki. Her father was an Uzumaki, her mother was an Uzumaki. She was an Uzumaki. She touched the throne. It touched her. For a moment she was the seal, she was the city, she felt its ache, its pain. And what it could do. The throne welcomed her, glowing a brilliant green that flared with the chakra around them, the ancient seals and symbols alighting one after another. Soon the city was once again filled with chakra and lights. Then there was a massive thrum. And the seal itself, the entire seal complex, which was really just thousands upon thousands of smaller seals woven together, sprung to life. Through her mind's eye and the missing portion of the dome, she could see what its purpose was. A massive barrier that covered the entire island. Had the seal been maintained, it would have been impenetrable. But now it was as useful as a leaky roof, with massive holes scattered about it. All hail Karin Uzumaki, rightful queen of the Uzumaki, long may she reign. 1,000 voices chanted in unison. Wait, what? Karin shot from the throne and stared at it. hoping to get some kind of an answer, some kind of anything from the inanimate object. Dust fell from the ceiling and the ground shook as the center of the room began to twist open as ancient gears sprung to life. What's happening? What was that voice? And why did they call you queen? Naruto sputtered from the ground, crawling as to avoid the opening gap in the floor. Several small pedestals appeared, all but one of them were empty. Karin walked towards it, her steps echoing where once they did not, as though the entire palace was bowing to her. On the pedestal was a necklace, or a pendant or something, made out of a solid green stone. It was hers. Or at least she thought it was. The stone was smooth and light in her hands, and she found herself slipping it around her neck without a second thought. Below it was a piece of paper with some kind of scribbling on it. Hey Naruto, can you read this? Huh, he groaned walking towards her, probably just as confused as her if not more so. I guess so. He took the paper, unfolding it gently. Let's see, I owe you one scroll of seals and other bullshit. Kushina Uzumaki. P.S. The other stuff was already taken, just be happy I left you the stupid necklace. That bitch. Karin huffed, folding her arms. A scroll like that could have been worth a lot of money. Hell, a secret scroll full of sealing from the Uzumaki could have bought her 3 castles. Probably, she didn't really know what the black market price for these kinds of things. Hey, at least you got a cool necklace out of it. Naruto poked her new necklace. But what was with those voices and the whole queen? The ground shook again. Dust fell from the dome. An earthquake. A big one. Shaking the very foundation of the city. It was the chakra. It was running wild, and growing in ferocity. Now that it had woken up, it wanted out. The cracks in the seal were splitting, consuming it. We need to run. Karin grabbed Naruto's hand and pushed him forward. Go. Quick. Get us out of the city. Now. To further punctuate her point, part of ceiling collapsed, shattering the throne, which only made things worse. Much, much worse. The ground crumbled beneath their feet. Naruto got the point. He ran, pulling her along with him. Bouts of flames shot out of the ground. Lightning struck. Earth formed. Tornadoes ripped. Water swallowed buildings whole. An apocalypse of chakra. The barrier was failing, its already damaged form burning away like a paper. But among all the chaos, a single stream of chakra has lit the way, heading down towards the river. Head towards the river. Naruto. Right. A bolt of lightning tore through the earth where they once stood moments ago. The city was dying because of her. No, that wasn't right, it was already dead, she was just finishing it off. As they sprinted towards the river, the nexus or temple behind them shuddered, sinking down into the ground deeper by the second. Buildings fell like dominoes, one falling meant the next one was soon to fall. The entire road seemed to crawl, bursting free from its earthly binds and bending into the sky, floating for a few moments before crashing down like someone was shaking a blanket free of dust. The chakra led them to a small boat surrounded by calm waters, even as the river was either freezing or evaporating. There. Karin pointed, urging Naruto forward. Get us in the boat. Right. He pulled her forward, scooping her up into his arms in the classic princess pose, despite her protests. Hang on tight. I can jump to Yano. She screamed even as they landed on the boat feet first. It shook violently, nearly tipping over at the sudden shift in weight. Karin fell to the side, grabbing onto it for dear life. Now what? There had to be something else. There were no sails, no paddles, no nothing. Just a small boat, against a raging river of ice and fire. The chakra swirled around them, gathering. It was calm, controlled, deliberate. All hail, Karin Uzumaki, last queen of the Uzumaki. 1,000 voices droned as one being. For she has set us free. Karin could do nothing but scream as the water around the boat shifted, creating a wave beneath them. Wait, hold on a second. The voices did not listen. The wave moved, sliding across the land and bathing them in steam as they joined the main river, pushing them forward out towards the ocean and away from the falling city. What the hell is happening? Naruto shouted, holding on for dear life. He only had one hand on the boat, his knuckles were turning white. I don't think I can hold on much longer. Karin was not faring much better. Naruto slipped. She let go for just a second, she couldn't lose Naruto. They were going to get through this together. A chakra chain stuck out from her hand wrapped tightly around the wooden bench, while her own hand gripped Naruto tightly. In the distance, she watched as the last bit of Uzushiogakure fell below the ground. She just hoped the voices didn't send her into the open sea. We are never getting on another boat again. Karin screamed, pulling her head out of the soft sand that covered much of the shore they landed on. A line of tall thin trees melded with the sand so that the border between forest and beach was indistinguishable. The mist was thick enough to be noticeable, but light enough that they could still feel the warmth of the sun basking down on their backs. Naruto sat up next to her, staring up at the sky wide-eyed. Sounds good to me, but what if we're on an island? We swim, water walk, learn to talk, to fish or make a bridge. Naruto had a lot of chakra, he could probably walk across the ocean, if he didn't have horrible chakra control that is. He should learn an earth jutsu, one called Make Karin a Bridge. Just no more boats. The vessel that they had taken was now beached with a splintered hull and most of it actually still at sea, given how the aged vessel began to decay on the last leg of the journey. Karin closed her eyes. To her relief, there were people, a lot of people, all milling about in a city or port nearby. Not one of them felt very strong, at least not by ninja standards. But that was probably a good thing. Come on, let's go get food. Huh, where are we going? Naruto asked, scrambling after her before he fell in stride beside her. And do you want me to take your hand? I want you to carry me, feed me, give me glasses, a warm bed, a warm bath, a working toilet. I just want to be done wandering around without a home. At this point, her old village might even be a welcome sight. No, she wasn't that desperate. She grabbed Naruto's hand and squeezed tight. But I guess you making sure I don't trip will do for now. Just point me in the right direction. Naruto shouted cheerfully. His stomach gave a growl that lasted far longer than it should have. And please tell me we're close. I'm so hungry. Just keep walking along the beach, we should end up there soon enough. Karin gestured in the vague direction of the town. This was getting old. All her and Naruto were doing was finding a town and getting lost, kicked out, followed by wandering through the wilderness. When on earth was it going to end? How much longer until she got a home, a place where she could stay and not have to worry about things like where her next meal was, or if she'd have to sleep in the rain again? She really didn't want a lot. So Queen of the Uzumaki? Naruto asked, his gait somewhere between a jog and a stroll. His rough hand was wrapped tightly around her own. What the hell are you talking about? Karin glared in his vague direction. Why can't she have her glasses back already? She only saw Naruto's slightly ugly mug for like 3 days, and that was far too little time to figure out if he really was actually maybe sort of cute. The ghosts, that necklace, the whole last Queen of the Uzumaki thing. Oh, and that note from that Kushina lady. Naruto turned sharply. Avoiding a large log seemed a bit out of place along the beach's soft sand. Woo! Karin fed the necklace that hung on her chest. The palm-sized stone shone with every step. I'm queen of a pile of rocks in the middle of the ocean and a bunch of dead dudes, such an honor. You get sassy when you're hungry. I'd say you're stupid when you're hungry, but that's a 24-hour thing with you. Karin rolled her eyes, and let out a sigh. I'm just going to sell this necklace and see if I get at least buy us lunch with the damn thing. But it's mine, and I'm going to sell it for ramen money. If you have a problem with that, then I'll just eat your half. She could practically taste it, a nice big bowl of ramen filled to the brim with every topping on the menu, complete with extra everything. If this necklace buys me ramen, then it's the first good thing me being in Uzumaki has done for me. 4x. The Great Naruto Bridge. Naruto examined the plaque on the large bridge that was directly connected to the main street of the village, pumping in fresh produce and trade. To honor Team 7 of Konoha that saved our village. It still smelled like any port city, stained with rotten fish guts. So you were named after a bridge. Karin smacked her lips, hands clutched over her stomach so that she wouldn't double over in hunger, or eat Naruto for wanting to read the stupid plaque on the stupid bridge. Hey, Naruto pouted, walking back over towards her. What if the bridge is named after me? Did you ever think about that? Who would name a bridge after you? She held out her hand, waiting for Naruto to grab it again. Naruto pouted and turned with a sharp huff. Yay, well. Whoa, Naruto. A short boy with a hat on came running up to them. Holy crap, he really did have a bridge named after him. It's been a long time. Oh hey, is this your girlfriend? A clue. Finally a clue on as to who the hell Naruto is. And now she was back on the path of finally having a home. After all, Naruto had a bridge named after him. That meant he was important and had a hero. Oh, wait, didn't that also mean he was from Konoha? That was both great and horrible. Wait, you know Naruto? Well, yay, he saved our village when he beat Gato. The boy spun, flailing his arms. I'm Inari, by the way, and who are you? I'm Karin. I've been traveling with Naruto for a while. Karin smiled. It just had to be a kid. She hated kids. They were rude, snobbish, and couldn't pay attention worth a damn. At least this one seemed slightly mature. Hey, Inari, Naruto coughed. So I kind of lost my memories, and stuff. Do you think you can tell me where I'm from? Really? Inari gasped. Wait, I know. Come to the house. My mom and grandpa will be happy to see you, and we might even be able to help you get your memories back. Oh, and it's almost dinner time anyway. I'm sure my mom made enough for at least 2 more people, at least if you don't get in another food eating contest with Sasuke. He grabbed Naruto's spare hand, forming a 3-person train, steamrolling them out of the village. A lot's happened around here, ya know. My grandpa says that the village is really coming around and that soon we'll be back to the glory days. We kept trying to go see you guys, but stuff keeps happening. He's already built 3 houses. Wait, can you tell me about me? Naruto asked, a smile on his face. He squeezed her hand tighter. I mean, I still don't know who I am or where I'm from. Oh well, that's easy. You and your team came from Konoha to protect my grandpa while he built the bridge. The new buildings near the bridge began to fade, as the older buildings of the tower began to appear, little more than shacks with a fresh coat of paint. Naruto looked so happy to finally learn about who he is. Wait, who was one? My team. No way, you really did forget everything. Inari took a sharp turn down a dirt path. Well, let's see there. There was your sensei. He's Kakashi. He looked really strong but was also really lazy. He spent most of his time laying in our bed and limping around. Then there was Sasuke. You guys didn't get along and he was a lot cooler than you. Then there was the girl Sakura. I think you had a crush on her or something. Wait, Naruto was teammates with Sasuke. That same Sasuke that saved her from that bear. That was good, right? Wait, where was the heart throbbing that normally came when she thought about that moment? Did Sasuke have dark hair and kind of pretty looking? Yay, he had dark hair, and Sakura liked him a lot. My mom kept saying it was a hopeless love triangle and that she felt sorry for all 3 of you. Inari's house was built away from the village, though its slow growth could be seen in the distance. A lone dock jutted out into the calm waters of a bay barely big enough for a dinghy. It seemed to be the quiet country home built as a labor of love. Or at least it would have been had it not been for the howling laughter of 2 old geezers that sounded like pigs fighting over table scraps. Oh geez, Inari dropped Naruto's hand and scratched the back of his head. It sounds like Gramps has a friend over, and that they're drinking. Let me go check and make sure it's safe to go inside. Oh Tazuna, a gruff voice echoed from inside the house like the roar of an old lion that had far too much pride in itself. I must say you really do have some great beer out here on the island, even the babes here are top notch. Hey now, Tazuna grumbled like a sleeping bear. I might respect her work, Jiraiya, but keep your eyes off my daughter. They sound really drunk, Karin mumbled, taking a step closer to Naruto. Karin, he asked, turning towards her. She could feel the concern in his voice as she tried to hide from people that couldn't see her. Damn this blonde idiot and her big mouth. I don't have a good history with drunk men, especially older ones. Don't worry, Inari spoke up, my Gramps just likes to drink, he doesn't grab people or hit people. Well, whatever, might as well just dive on in. Karin followed closely behind Naruto on their approach towards the building. She hated the smell of beer. It only made angry men angrier. Such a vile liquid that brought demons to life. Say, Tazun grumbled, shouldn't you get back to looking for that brat of yours? If he was around these parts he would have shown up already. Yay! Jiraiya roared into a might belch that shook the house. I suppose I should, though honestly I've kind of ran out of leads, so I'm just buying time before I go back and get my handed to me. Woman troubles. Every day of my life. The bear and the lion roared with laughter, making the earth shake. Inari gave them one last smile before he swung open the door. Hey, Grandpa, look who I found. The room was plain, with several empty bottles of sake littering the tabletop serving as the main decoration, the scent of alcohol mingled with the mouth-watering scent of a freshly cooked stew. Around the table sat an old grizzly man with tan skin and a balding head of white hair. Across from him sat a large man with long white hair that coiled around his waist. It was so long, it was wild and spiky even as it was contained in a ponytail. He had on a red and green outfit with a head plate that said oil. The room grew silent as all eyes flew to Naruto. Tazuna smiled, well, if it isn't. I live another day. Jiraiya shouted, spinning up to greet them before he fell on the ground with a giant thud. He laughed, holding up a flask of booze as he stared at Naruto with a giant smile on his face. I found him. You are in so much trouble, brat. Jiraiya sat up suddenly. Seriously, Tsunade's been worried sick. She told me that if I came back without you she'd bury me 6 feet under the tallest mountain. Naruto knew this man. He gave her the creeps. Something about this man was seriously off, as though her female instincts were screaming at her to stay away from him. But he was looking for Naruto, right? Wait, was this guy his grandpa or something? What the hell were you thinking? I get you're depressed about losing your friend like that, but really, that's no excuse to run away from the village. Jiraiya's eyes moved towards Karin. He blinked twice and then grew a lecherous smile. Oh, so that's it, you went and got yourself a little girlfriend. Well, that's a pretty good excuse for me, but Tsunade might beat both us in. Naruto mumbled, stepping between Karin and Jiraiya. Are you my grandpa? Jiraiya looked up, his lecherous grin gone, replaced with one of drunken confusion. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes, his face a mask of drunken confusion. He let out a small burp that sounded like a dying bird. With a groan that knocked him backward, Jiraiya took another drink from his flask. Girl, please tell me that he's just messing with me because he doesn't want to go back to Konoha because he's fallen madly in love with you. Hey, wait, you know who I am, you're looking for me, right? Can't you tell me anything? He sounded afraid and fearful. The earlier excitement he had when talking to Inari was gone. Jiraiya groaned, sitting up. Hate to bother you more, Tazuna, but do you think we could stay for dinner? I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of storytelling going on. By all means, the more the merrier, just watch the language around the kid, will ya? Yasumi's a bit sensitive about that. Tazuna smiled, holding up his bear towards Naruto. Don't worry, brat, we'll set ya straight. By the way, who's your girlfriend? I'm Karin. Naruto guided her down to sit beside him at the small table. He tried to let go of her hand. But, part of her refused to let go. She squeezed his hand hard under the table, feeling the texture of the top of his hand with her thumb. He needed to know that she was there for him. And that she needed him, no matter who he was. So, what can you tell us about Naruto's past? Blah. Jiraiya stuck his tongue out at a new bottle of beer before he took another drink of it. No way. I'm not going to go off spewing the brat's whole life story until after you two tell me why the hell you two had me travel halfway across the goddamn continent looking for you. Drunk, mad, and old, such a wonderful combination. Why on earth did this drunkard of all people have to know Naruto? Karin sighed. She really hoped that Naruto wasn't actually related to this bastard. Basically, I found Naruto half drowned in a river, lost my glees saving him, we went looking for a village or something, found a hut, crazy old lady that lived there used to be a gang leader, old gang attacked, one of them recognized Naruto from here, so we decided to come here, got on a boat, it broke, we ended up stranded near the village hidden in the whirlpools, I became the queen of the Uzumaki and I think the island sunk or something. She took a breath and groaned. Then we ended up here. And I still don't have my glasses. What she said, Naruto pointed towards her. Silence followed afterward, only interrupted by the sound of beer guzzling. Then Jiraiya roared in laughter. I thought that necklace was familiar. Man, that brings back memories. You were there. Do you know someone called Kushina Uzumaki? She owes me a scroll. Karin barked, glaring at the man. It was like this man was trying his hardest to make her dislike him. Yep. I was there with her. She had me digging a tunnel underneath that damn dome to get that scroll. The throne kept rejecting her even though she was an Uzumaki. Boy was she mad. Said stealing the scroll was her birthright and it wasn't like a bunch of old ghosts could stop her. Yep. Karin hated this guy. Wait. Tell me, did the brat get zapped by the throne too? Jiraiya gave them a toothy grin. Hey, that thing freaking hurt. Yay, but why does that matter? It's not like Naruto is an Uzumaki, of course, the throne would zap him. Or at least that's what she thought, it could just be that she was female and the throne was inhabited by a East old man or something. Jiraiya roared with laughter once again. Ha, he's an Uzumaki alright. Wait, really? Both Naruto and her shouted, slapping their hands on the table. Wait, why did that even matter? It didn't make him less Naruto. Besides, why didn't the throne thing work for Naruto? PFF'd. Jiraiya snorted. Who knows, might be because he's a mutt, or has none of the Uzumaki traits. I couldn't tell ya. I can't believe I'm an Uzumaki. Naruto cheered. Oh hey wait. What about my parents? Are they in Konoha? I can't wait to introduce Karin to them. You don't have parents. In a heartbeat Jiraiya became sober, and all joy died in his eyes. There was no spark of amusement, no joy, just the sad simple truth. They died the night of the Kyuubi attack. Oh, well, do you know who they are then? I feel like. Naruto tapped on his chest right above the heart. Whatever joy had been in the room vanished, leaving nothing to replace it, just an empty hole. I feel like I should at least know their names. Can't say. Jiraiya scratched the back of his head. I only really got to know you until 6 months ago when I made you my apprentice. Wait, you're my teacher. Are you some kind of super awesome ninja or something? Great, that meant Naruto was going to be spending more time around this drunk old man. Of course I am. Jiraiya slapped his own hand on the table, causing it to rattle. From the east to the west, north to the south, even the spirits know this mighty Sannin's name. Jiraiya the Toad Sage. Sannin, wait, Jiraiya. Sannin, that, you're one of the legendary 3 ninja from Konoha. Ah, Jiraiya smiled, drawing a finger along his chin, I see that you've heard of me. This was amazing. Naruto, her thick-skulled idiot, was actually an apprentice to one of the most legendary ninja this side of the Mogami. That meant he was practically famous. And probably rich, or on his way to becoming a powerful and important ninja. Jackpot. She was going to get that home in no time flat. So, can you tell me what you know about me then? Naruto asked, his tone still lacked that sense of joy. And that emptiness away her own joy. It was one thing to know that he didn't have parents, but to find out that he was like her, an orphan with no family had to be worse, right? To hope that he might have something, only to have it viciously torn from him. She leaned in next to him so that their shoulders were touching. She tried to say words, but they failed her then, but what could she say that she hadn't already said? Jiraiya leaned back and let out a grunt. I could, Or you could wait until we get you back to Konoha where Tsunade can fix you up. She can probably fix your memory loss, especially if it's because of some kind of a physical trauma like hitting your head or drowning, which from your story sound very probably. I'd rather you just tell me if you could. Naruto placed his hands and forehead on the ground, bowing to Jiraiya with as much respect as he could muster. Master. Jiraiya beamed, lips curled into a smile, nostrils flaring. He was enjoying this far more than he should. Well, if you insist, I guess I can tell you what I know. 4x. Karin flopped down onto the bed. It felt like forever since she had a warm, safe bed that wasn't moving, and a belly full of delicious food. Something she hoped to be making a habit of once they got to Konoha. Naruto had his own apartment, that meant that they had their own apartment, which meant so many wonderful things. Privacy, a kitchen, baths, and a nice cozy bed. She couldn't wait to get back to Konoha. Just the thought of having a new home, a new safe home with a roof that didn't leak was enough to make her squeal and kick her legs in excitement. Best of all, the Hokage, legendary healer and strongest woman in the world, was apparently fond of Naruto, so she could probably convince him to convince her to let her stay even if they found out that she was technically a missing nin at this point. A knock sounded on her door. Karin. It was Naruto. What's up? She didn't dare to get up, not want to disturb the elusive comfort she was feeling. Naruto opened the door, blanket, pillow, and mat in his hands. Jiraiya snores loud. Do you mind if I sleep in here with you? Sure. Not like we don't normally spend the night next to each other. Karin gestured towards the empty space next to her. Naruto tossed down his bed for the night, looking extra tired. Thanks, Karin. You should call me Your Highness from now on. Karin turned to Naruto, who flopped down beside her. Why the hell would I do that? 'Cause you're an Uzumaki and I'm the queen of the Uzumaki. She rested her head on her chin, staring at her travel companion. He was by far the best thing she'd ever pulled out of a river. Don't worry, as my lone subject I promise to treat you well, but a bit of respect and dignity. Naruto snorted. Pass. Karin smiled, burying her face in the soft pillow that Inari's family had provided them. She should be happy, Naruto should be happy, but he wasn't. Hey, are you okay? You're kind of down or something. Yeah, I'm fine. He didn't sound fine. She rolled her eyes. You don't sound fine. It's nothing really. Karin scrambled up to her knees, gripping her pillow tightly. She stared at the vague form that was her best friend. Then she rained down righteous pillowy fury upon him, once, twice, 3 times. Ow, hey. Damn it. Is there bricks in that thing? Naruto flailed under her assault. For her finishing move, she pushed the pillow onto his chest and landed on top of him, keeping him pinned against the ground. She fed his nose. Tell me, Naruto. He struggled and probably could have broken free if he really wanted to. She wasn't that strong, but, even if he did escape, she would get the answer from him. They had been through too much to keep secrets from each other. Tell me. Naruto stopped and sighed. He refused to look her in the eyes. I'm just worried. Okay. About what? She relaxed, resting her head on her pillow, arms pressed forward so that her hands rested on either side of Naruto's head. About me. What if I get my memories back and I turn into somebody else? Their eyes met for just a moment. Karin felt her smile growing. That's what you're worried about? Honestly, you heard what Inari and Jiraiya said. You're an idiot now. You were an idiot then and you're going to be an idiot after you get your memories back. What about you? He held her gaze longer this time. What happens now? I'm going back to Konoha and you don't have a home anymore, and I don't want to just leave you. He sighed, head flopping to the side. You're too important to me. Her smile grew wide and she pressed down onto him harder, knocking the air out of him with an oof. If you think it's that easy to get rid of me, Naruto, you're sadly mistaken. Face it, you're stuck with me from now on. Thanks, Karin. He took in a deep breath and smiled. It felt good knowing that she could dispel his fears so easily. He swallowed and the smile vanished. So when we get back to Konoha, do you think you'd be okay with living with me? Karin blinked, scrunching her face up like she'd just eaten a sour. That was actually her plan from the get-go. What made you think we weren't? You still owe me a home, I don't mind borrowing yours until you provide me one. He gave a wheezing laugh that she felt. Hey, Karin. Yay. Do you think you could get off me? She smiled and snuggled into her pillow more. No way, too comfy. Naruto groaned in protest. 4x. Despite what people said, there was no building up an immunity to a hangover, and there was no magical cure-all, otherwise Tsunade would have found it already. But the killer headache that sounded a successful night's drinking did not prevent stiffen Jiraiya's good mood. No, today was a great day. After a month of following Naruto's trail, he had finally found the brat. Well, the brat found him, but he wasn't one to look a gift horse in the mouth. But the girl put an interesting twist on things. What was her name again? Oh right, Karin Uzumaki, apparently the queen of the Uzumaki. Poor Kushina must be rolling in her grave. She was close to Naruto, really close, offering him strength when he didn't need it, and relying on him a great deal. Almost like a parasite, though that was probably a bit harsh considering how by Naruto's own account she saved his life several times. He could bring her to Konoha no problem, and the girl seemed keen on doing that, her face lighting up whenever the village was mentioned. But dragging her around the world while he trained Naruto to use the Kyuubi's chakra was not something he was too keen on. We'll cross that road when we come to it, I guess, Jiraiya grumbled, scratching the back of his head. Damn, brat is probably going to throw a fit if I try to separate them. With a yawn that smelled like low tide, he paused in front of their room. He should probably leave Tazuna with something considering how hospitable the family was. Maybe a sample chapter of his next book and a bottle of toad brew, yay, that sounded fair. With another yawn, he slid the door open. All right, brats. Yep. They were both Uzumaki, that was for sure. The two of them had somehow managed to squirm out of their respective beddings and were now sprawled around the room like twin starfishes, with Karin's foot pressing into Naruto's face. So much for walking in on them cuddling like two adorable idiots. The girl was a manipulative, bossy, cruel, cunning bitch. It was like somebody took the worst traits of Tsunade and cranked the Uzumaki to 11, pasty skin, short temper, red hair that seemed to have a vendetta against combs and style in general. And yet somehow his idiotic apprentice was heads over heels in love with the girl. It was like watching a girl playing with her new puppy. Oh sure, the girl loved Naruto too, that much was obvious to everybody but them, it seemed. Yep, his apprentice was doomed to a life being shackled to one woman that loved him. Honestly, he was a little jealous. Hey girlie, Jiraiya whistled, calling her over like a dog. She glared at him, or at least it looked like she was, it was hard to tell, she kept squinting at everything. What do you want, Lord Jiraiya? Despite the title, the girl had no respect in her voice, as though she was mocking him. What he really wanted was some goddamn respect, which was why he hadn't bothered to correct his student's wonderful habit of calling him master. He was Jiraiya, of the Sannin, the only one that wasn't broke or crazy. He was published too. Sure, his Ica series was the big seller, but he had plenty of other books that made his bank account not. What's your intent when we get back to Konoha? Get a pair of glasses, move in with Naruto, steal his bed, eat his food, and find a job or something, Karin said like she was reading a grocery list. The girl was as honest as the sun and as blunt as a barn. Jiraiya chuckled. Karin was starting to grow on him. Like a damn parasite. Well, do you have any skill that could be useful to Konoha? Or would you just be a civilian? I'm not a good fighter. She looked down in shame, adjusting her small pack as they continued down their path towards Konoha. Naruto was needlessly distracted just up ahead, practically bouncing. But, I have a few other skills that could be useful to Konoha, so I'll figure something out. What skills do you have exactly? He wanted her to have something trainable, something that would keep her in Konoha while he trained Naruto how to control the Kyuubi. Part of it was the danger, but most of it was for his wallet. Feeding an Uzumaki was expensive, feeding two would put a major dent in his bank account. And for that matter, who taught you? It was small, just the slightest bit of hesitation in her footstep, the slight furrowing of her brow, and the way her hand drifted towards her arm. All subtle things that could mean a million different things. Painful memories, reluctance, time to find a lie, guilt, perhaps all of the above and then some. Well, I can make this chain appear out of my hand, back to I think, I can't really control it yet, but I'm working on it. Don't know what good it'll do. To demonstrate her point, Karin extended her hand and dropped a small length of chain out of nowhere. Great. She just had to have the Uzumaki sealing chains. I see, but that's not much use in a non-combat role. I can do other stuff, she pouted. Like, I can sense chakra from really far away. Oh, now that could be very useful. How far away is really far away? A sensor could support just about any team, and if the girl had even remotely good chakra control, a sensor medic could be a potent combination. She shrugged. I don't know, 5 kilometers, maybe more. Jiraiya snorted. You don't have to lie to impress me, girl, just being a sensor at your age is impressive enough. I'm not lying. She huffed, all of her bravado coming back. Watch, there's going to be a family coming on the road in 5 minutes, they're going to have a donkey pulling a cart, 2 adults, and a baby. Now I know you're lying, you didn't even do anything. This girl had to be the biggest liar on earth. There was no way that she could get the kind of range, or that level of detail, or doing it like it was as easy as breathing. To do all 3 was just unheard of, and he had known many powerful sensors. Don't believe me? Go check yourself. Damn brat. Well, is there anything else you can do? Jiraiya grumbled, another reason why this girl was so not coming on the training trip. She was very likely to try to kill him when he was asleep. Besides, he didn't train girls. It was just on the list of things that didn't happen. Like, jutsu, or something you're good at. And who the hell taught you? She snorted like an angry pig. I don't know a lot of jutsu, okay. I learned most of what I do on my own. My mom taught me some stuff but not a lot. I'm not good in a fight. You said that already. She was hiding something, or his name wasn't Jiraiya, Spymaster of Konoha. Look, I'm trying to help you find a place in Konoha. Tsunade may be willing to take you in because you're the brat's girlfriend, but that doesn't mean she'll let you freeload. I'm smart. She shrugged like it was an afterthought. You don't have to help me out, I'll figure out something useful I can do for my new home. Was this how Tsunade felt about him? To both love and hate somebody so much that he just wanted to punch her half the time. Good lord, she was basically a meaner version of Kushina, without the tomboy part. Look, she pointed ahead of them. Jiraiya had to stop walking. His mouth hung open ever so slightly. The girl was right. A donkey pulling a cart, with a young couple riding it, the woman with a swaddled baby. He snorted. Dumb luck, do it again and all. Naruto has the Kyuubi sealed inside of him, doesn't he? Karin asked, her eyes locked on the back of Naruto as he orbited around them like an excited dog on a leash. Again, this girl just kept doing her best to surprise him. Don't try to lie to me, I know what your chakra looks like when you're lying. You're joking. What the hell was this girl? That was it. He must have pissed off some Uzumaki witch that cursed him to have terrible luck with Uzumakis, as they kept being a pain in the necks when he was trying to train a stupid blonde. Everything I've told you has been true. She had such a smug smile on her face that it took all his will not to smack it off of her. Lord Jiraiya, but I'll take your silence as a yes. Yay, fine, the brats has the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. Jiraiya grumbled in a hushed tone, but can you keep it down? I'd rather let him be worry-free for a little while longer. And how did you find out? I said I can sense chakra. That includes the darkness inside of Naruto's light. Karin didn't bother to keep her volume under control. I didn't know what it was until you told us about Naruto last night, then I started to get some clues. I have another question. I'm almost afraid to ask. If this kept up, Konoha would have a new spymaster. But what is it? I noticed that when we mentioned Kushina, your chakra flared and that whenever we spoke about her you asked Naruto something similar, and whenever we brought up Naruto's parents your chakra flared the same way. Yep, no, he was retiring. So is Kushina Naruto's mother. Why do you ask things you already know the answer to? Jiraiya whined, both for himself and the future. If Naruto really did manage to become the Hokage, then Karin would be the wife of the Hokage and the world would tremble. She smiled with a gleeful madness. I like it when people say I'm right. But, why hide it? Karin asked. Jiraiya sighed, running a hand through his long hair. It was a question he asked himself every day. Naruto's enemies already knew who he was, Minato's enemies didn't care anymore, hell most of them were dead. I honestly don't know anymore. Before he could explain himself Karin nodded, cupping her mouth with both hands. Uhu, hey Blondie, that Kushina lady is your mother. What, really? Awesome, Naruto shouted, running over to them. His smile seemed all the brighter. Hey, wait, you called my mom a bitch. Yay, and I called you an idiot. Yay, he was going to let Tsunade deal with this girl. He was done. 4x. Konoha shined. Komain City, which was larger and more heavily populated, was nothing but a polished rock compared to the village hidden in the leaves that shined like 1,000 glittering stars. The chakra signatures in the city were strong, powerful, proud, each one unique in some wonderful way. Just as with her first visit, Karin was left speechless as she felt Konoha, even the average non-ninja had more chakra than others. To say nothing of their ninja. At a glance, she counted 100 chakra signatures stronger than the head ninja of her old home, and many of them eclipsed him. But strength and volume weren't all that existed in Konoha. There was a warmth, a finesse, that existed in every single person. It was that undeniable fire that Konoha ninja seemed to have. And Naruto was no exception. If anything, he was the definition of this warmth. Jiraiya had it too, though his was less of the roaring bonfire that Naruto had and more the campfire trying to outlast the storm. The gates came into view, a flat dull blob that marked just one more barrier between her and her new home. One where she wouldn't be fretting when her next meal was, rather where she wanted to eat. Where she would have a roof, a bed, a bath. She found herself smiling, as she felt Naruto's warmth pass next to her, their hands touching for the time between heartbeats. And she would have people that cared about her here. Are you nervous? She asked, intentionally stepping towards him so that their shoulders touched. Naruto bounced away with a laugh. No, I think I'm just really excited. My heart's racing and my palms are really sweaty. You dork, I don't need to know when your palms are sweaty. Karin stuck her tongue out in disgust. But do you remember anything? Not really, but this place feels really familiar. Karin nodded, staring at the gate ahead of them as it slowly began to grow taller and taller. Why weren't they running at it, screaming like maniacs? Wait, running at a guarded gate of a ninja village screaming like a maniac was probably not good for her health. I'm really excited too. Finally their long journey was over, finally she could have some peace and quiet, finally, she could read a book, sample perfumes, eat out, and just do normal things with extraordinary people. Naruto. A girly voice screamed from ahead, and a small and damaged, but strong chakra signature charged at them. It was a girl with pink hair, running at Naruto. Naruto stood frozen, a hand going to his head. Sakura. Oh, so he'd remember her, the girl Inari said that he had a crush on and his teammate. Just great. Wait, this was a good thing, Naruto was regaining his memories, she should be happy for him. The girl crashed into Naruto, pulling him into a hug. You idiot. Do you have any idea how worried we were about you? Everybody's been searching for you since you disappeared. I don't think Kakashi-sensei has slept. Karin felt like vomiting. Her body lurched forward and nearly gave a dry heave. Oh sorry Sakura, it's just I've kind of lost my memories, so I didn't really know I lived here and stuff. Naruto, to his credit, stood there like an awkward fish, completely unsure of what to do. Karin did not like Sakura, there was just something about the girl that pissed her off. But honestly, she had no idea what it was. Wait, you lost your memories. We thought Orochimaru captured you or something, or worse. Sakura took a step back from Naruto, her hands falling to the side. I'm just happy you're alive, and back. Disgusting pink-haired whore. Still, what could she say? This was someone from Naruto's past, a close friend of his, someone that he had a crush on, that he was heads over heels for. Not like she stood a chance against her. Not that she wanted to. She was not after Naruto's heart. Just his house. And his friendship and. Naruto took her hand, pulling her towards him. This is Karin. She's the one that pulled me out of the river. Hey, wait. Karin stumbled, tripping over her own 2 feet and landing smack into Naruto's chest. Damn it, you idiot. Don't pull on me like that. Ah, I'm sorry, Karin. I just wanted you to meet Sakura. Naruto didn't have to sound so happy about it. And why the hell were they still holding hands? Wait, she was the one not letting his hand go. She really should, but. Anyways, Karin, this is Sakura. I only really know her name right now. You really are an idiot, Naruto, Sakura groaned, but she could hear the smile in her voice. Before she bowed at the waist. Thank you for saving Naruto. I know how big of a pain he can be, but thanks for saving him. Yay, no problem, Karin mumbled. Was this respect? Was this what being respected felt like? The earth trembled slightly, like a tree falling far off in the distance. And a large chakra signature was charging right at them. It was kind, motherly, healing chakra, with an aura of authority. But most of all, it was ablaze with fury. Alright, brats, we better get going before Tsunade gets mad at me. Jiraiya grumbled, trying to urge the brats along. Tsunade was the Hokage, the female Hokage of Konoha. And apparently was fond of Naruto. That explained the chakra signature. Karin coughed and pointed in the air just above the gate. I think it's too late for that. Jiraiya had enough time to look afraid before a blonde woman masked in chakra slammed into him, creating a crater where he once stood. Like a great hulking beast, she pulled Jiraiya out of the ground. Jiraiya, you're late. Why are you hurting me? Jiraiya whined. I found the brat. Tsunade paused, head turning towards the 3 of them, even as Sakura took a safe step away. The earth buckled as the Hokage walked towards them, her knuckles popped with thunder. Brat, do you have any idea how worried I was? You have 2 seconds to tell me why the hell you didn't come back. He lost his memories. Karin blurted out. Seriously, how many ridiculously strong ninja did Naruto know? More importantly, why was she standing between Tsunade and Naruto? Wait, her feet brought her here. And why was she glaring in the vague direction of Hokage? She did not have a death wish. He did. Tsunade pried Naruto from her and began to inspect his head like it was a melon at the market. I should be able to fix this, but who the hell are you? I'm Karin, she chirped, bouncing ever so slightly. Karin Uzumaki, I saved Naruto. Tsunade nodded, eyes fixed on the necklace Karin wore around her neck. 4x. Karin sighed, pressing her knees up to her chest. Tsunade had rushed them, rather Naruto, straight to the hospital and immediately began the operation. Soon, the Naruto that he was before he knew her would be back. But what about the Naruto she knew now? What would happen to him? Would he still be there? Would he still like her? Would she even still like him? Wait, where the hell did that come from? You shouldn't be so worried, Sakura said next to her. Despite the empty row of seats across from the operating room, the pink-haired girl had chosen to sit right next to her. Naruto's a tough guy, I'm sure he'll survive. I'm not worried about that at any rate. Even she knew who Tsunade was, legendary Sannin, strongest woman in the world, and the founder of modern medical jutsu. I'm just anxious is all. So I've been meaning to ask you, are you Naruto's girlfriend or something? What makes you say that? Great. Stuttering. Just what she needed right now. I mean really, everybody keeps saying that, what makes you think that? Well, For one, you're almost always touching him, or holding his hand. Sakura smiled, rocking forward slightly so that her elbows rested on her knees. That and the way you look at him, or rather squint at him, unless you're calling him an idiot, you're always smiling at him. And I don't know, you two just kind of look cute together. Karin snorted, ignoring the fact that her cheeks were burning. Well, sorry to burst yours and everybody's bubble. Naruto is not my boyfriend. She focused back into the room, feeling Naruto's warm chakra, still as bright as ever, even as the darkness of the Kyuubi swirled beneath it. But you'd like to be right? Sakura asked, holding back a laugh. I can tell that you really do care about him. Just shut up, okay? Karin grumbled. Naruto's just an idiot that I pulled out of a river, that owes me a home and a pair of glasses for saving his life. Sakura hummed, leaning back in her chair so that her head was touching the wall. And does that home include Naruto in it? I hate you. Ah, but I thought we were going to be friends. Karin glared at Sakura as best she could. What about you? What's Naruto to you? That shut the pink-haired bitch up. Sakura swallowed, her body now rigid as her hand clutched over her heart. Naruto, well, he's my teammate, and well, my teammate too, and I just want to see him happy. So why don't you date him? He has a crush on you, right? It's not like that, Sakura said in the most believable tone ever. Besides, I get the feeling that he likes you a lot. PFF'd. Yeah, I'm sure he heads over heels in love with the thin pasty girl that keeps bossing him around. She did not like Naruto, and Naruto did not like her. Right. The door slid open, revealing the easily flustered black-haired woman that the Hokage had dragged into the room with her. Naruto's memory has been restored. Karin rushed past her, her legs moving on their own as her heart raged against her ribs. She knew he was okay, she knew that they knew what they were doing. But still, she needed to see him for herself. Hi, Karin. He beamed at her from his hospital bed. I got all my memories back. And I can't wait to take you to Ichiraku's. They have the best ramen ever. Good. She smiled, walking over to his side, touching his arm. You're still an idiot. Tsunade laughed. I'm starting to like your girlfriend, brat. She's a 13-year-old girl, Jiraiya. Tsunade rubbed her temples as her troublesome teammate followed her into her office. She needed a drink. Today was great, but she had to make sure that everything stayed great. First, she had to restore the brat's memories, then she had to call off about a dozen searches. And now she had to find out what to do with the stray Naruto picked up. How scary can she be? I'm not saying she's scary, I'm just saying be cautious with her. Jiraiya rested a hand on her desk, fingers crawling towards her own hand in another attempt to win her over. It was exhausting always having to be on guard around Jiraiya, even if it did make her feel wanted. She's smart, and clever, and manipulative, and you know what, actually yay, she scares me. Tsunade rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. And what makes you say that? Well, she can tell if you're lying based on your chakra, and she can make leaps in logic that are rather accurate. She found out that Kushina was Naruto's mom based off of what my chakra did when I talked about her. Jiraiya spun around to face her, both hands were on her desk. She's like an evil manipulative version of Minato mixed with a lie detector. How good is her ability to sense chakra? Tsunade asked. She might be a bit biased, but any girl that can make Jiraiya be on edge was a win in her book. Jiraiya sighed and scratched the back of his head. Unbelievable. According to her, she can sense individual chakra miles away. They all have unique feelings to her, so she can easily pinpoint people she's met before, and she can get a general feel of them from their chakra. Not to mention she can tell if they're lying or not. But she can also sense the Kyuubi inside of Naruto's seal. Impressive, and she wants to join the village. Tsunade replied, smiling to herself. Even if Karin wasn't a fighter, she had a unique talent set that was a great boon. She knew all too well how powerful a support role could be. I think she wants to stay with Naruto, Jiraiya laughed. Those two imprinted on each other something fierce. So as long as Naruto wants to live in Konoha, I think Karin will too. And how does that affect your trip? We can't have him trying to master the Kyuubi's chakra so close to the village. Tsunade folded her arms and sighed. You said it yourself, the people are finally starting to respect him even if just ever so slightly, if something were to happen. I know. She could feel the regret in his voice. He didn't want to leave either, even if it was his MO. And I'm not comfortable taking the girl with me, she'd be both a burden and she'd be wasted on me. That and I don't teach girls. How progressive of you, Jiraiya. Would you trust me with a girl? Honestly. Yay. Tsunade smiled up at him, watching Jiraiya's mouth fall open. You're a great teacher, Jiraiya, and you might be the most perverted man on the planet, but I've never seen you flirt with anybody that looked underage. But, she continued, I do understand your point, her skill set would be wasted on you. So what are you going to do with her? Jiraiya asked, a smile worming its way onto his face. Tsunade shrugged, I don't know, I'll make up my mind after I talk to her. 4x. Karin stared at the door to the Hokage's office. It was less grand than she thought it would have been. The head Junin of the grass had a bigger office, his had double doors. But still, this was the Hokage's office, as in the leader of one of the strongest villages, and the strongest women in the world by no small margin. And here she was, some weak girl that couldn't fight, about to enter the lion's den. No, she had nothing to worry about. The Hokage loved Naruto, like an annoying little brother or something. Their relationship was weird. But the Hokage wasn't going to hurt her. If she wanted to do that, then why did she send her assistant to get her a pair of glasses? She smiled as she felt the still cold black frames on her nose. They were stylish, comfortable, and the best glasses she had ever owned. It was like she was seeing the world for the first time. For the real first time, everything was so crisp and clear. Was this how people normally saw? It was amazing. But why wasn't Naruto here? Oh right, he was still strapped to the hospital bed with that Sakura girl refusing to let him move a muscle for at least a few more hours just to make sure there's no unusual side effects. And all of his friends had come too. She didn't fit in with them. She was just an outsider again. Was coming here a mistake? This was supposed to be her new home. But once again she felt so much like an outsider. If only they could have stayed on that island, with the boat, and the fire and that beautiful sunset. Wait. No, she was just being stupid. Other people wanted to spend time with Naruto, so she'd just have to share him. Karin. Shizun's voice, the lady that brought her the glasses, caused her to snap out of her thoughts. She didn't even hear the woman, or the pig, somehow managing to carry a tray of tea and a stack of paperwork all at once. Why are you standing there? Is Lady Tsunade asleep at her desk again? No. Karin shook her head and sighed. I was just lost in thought. Shizun laughed. Oh, well, here, hold the tea and I'll let us in. Before Karin could decline or otherwise, the woman forced the tea tray upon her. It was heavy, and wobbled with every movement. How did this lady climb 3 flights of stairs with this and hold all those papers? Lady Tsunade. Shizun asked, opening the door while giving Karin a small knowing wink. This woman was far too kind and was making all the wrong assumptions. Still, she was nice. I brought Karin tea, and the mission reports. The blonde woman behind the desk groaned like a child. Tea. I thought I asked for some booze. Karin bumbled alongside Shizun, doing her best not to trip and spill tea everywhere. The office smelled like booze covered with a strong chocolate scent. It wasn't fooling anybody. What was with Naruto? He seemed to have the natural ability to make old drunk people care about him. First Tazuna and Jiraiya, now the Hokage. You still have a few hours before you're off the clock. Shizun chided, reaching around the desk. She pulled out an empty bottle of sake. Besides, I think you've had enough. Tsunade huffed, folding her arms and pouting like a 5-year-old. Hey, I couldn't drink for a month because I was too worried about Naruto. I deserve a reward. You drank more then. More pouting. The Hokage was pouting. The latent fear that had been gnawing at the back of her mind vanished, and Karin couldn't help but laugh. You remind me a lot of Naruto. It was like she had disturbed some sacred ritualistic banter. The mood in the room went from happy and cheerful to dreadfully serious, and silence flooded in so that she could hear a pin drop. Tsunade's chakra turned cold and guarded. Like any shrewd businessman, even Shizune's bright aura dropped as though responding to her master's unseen command. Right then, Tsunade gestured towards the center of the room with one hand while the other gathered a separate pile of paperwork. Karin took the hint and stood in the middle of the room, feeling the pressure of what was the beating heart of Konoha. Give these to the messengers. I want all teams to be aware that the search is off, Naruto's home, and to thank Suna for their assistance as well. Suna. How many important people cared about Naruto to get 2 villages searching for him? Right away, my lady. Shizune bowed, scurrying out the door, the pig hot on her heels. The air grew cold and stiff. Her feet were screaming at her and her legs were already falling asleep like 1,000 needles prickling her skin. The Hokage hadn't even glanced at her yet. She knew why the woman sent Shizune away. She made her comfortable. Both of them. And for this conversation the Hokage did not want her comfortable. Everything felt stiff and rigid, and although the chakra of the outside world buzzed about within the Hokage's office, not a soul moved. Only the ticking of the clock and the steam wafting from the tea gave credit to the passage of time. Tsunade poured herself a cup of tea, taking a small sip of it before her eyes snapped towards Karin. It was a jolt that nearly made her scream. She should not be here. Never in 1,000 years should she be here. She had nothing. No protection aside from some dumb blonde that wasn't anywhere near her. She could have waited for Naruto to recover, then have this conversation with him there. He was her only shield. So, Tsunade purred like a lion cornering a helpless mouse. Death was inevitable, it just mattered how much the lion wanted to play with her. Your name is Karin Uzumaki, correct? She knew that. She even told her as much. Hell, this woman said she was Naruto's girlfriend. Karin nodded, letting none of her fear show. Just one more hurdle. That's right, I'm Karin Uzumaki. She bit her lip, she needed something more. Her hand fell to that green stone that sat on her chest, feeling its smooth spiral. And I'm queen of the Uzumaki. Tsunade raised any eyebrow and smirked. Congrats, you're the queen of a pile of rubble and a bunch of dead folk. The teacup rested on the table with a loud knock that sounded more like thunder. Do you know what that means? I have a pretty necklace. Karin asked with a shrug. If she could get anything out of this woman, a smile, a laugh, anything but that calculating look that could freeze a fire, then perhaps she could get out of this in one piece. True, it's made from the same stuff as my grandfather's necklace, without any of the fame though. The Hokage's eyes fared to the picture of the first Hokage, one of the only 2 that were smiling in their photo. But it also marks you. Marks me. It was just a stone that, as she claimed, didn't have any fame. It was explained to me by my grandmother, Mito Uzumaki, that the throne of the Uzumaki would only accept one that had all 3 of their clan traits. The first being the most common, chakra chains, something you showed Jiraiya. Tsunade stood, hand tracing the papers on her desk, while the other opened a drawer. And the other 2. Karin felt her heart sink. They were going to know. They were going to find out. This was not good. She didn't want to be used her. It wasn't worth the price. If she begged Naruto, they could leave. Go to Suna. He had allies there. Or find another abandoned island where they can spend every day staring at the sunset. The other you claim to have, I believe that it's called, the mind's eye. It was apparently incredibly rare, a sensor ability that was rather powerful, but your claims are extraordinary even by its description. Brown eyes narrowed at her. I'm not lying. Karin mumbled. No, that was weak. She tightened her fists and stood straight, holding the Hokage's gaze with equal parts confidence and pride. I'm telling the truth. You have a genjutsu cast on you. The seal in your forehead holds a lot of chakra. There are 2 strong ninja nearby, one is female, the other is a male. His chakra feels artificial and I wasn't doubting your abilities. You provided more than enough proof when you discovered who Naruto's mother was and sensed the 9-tailed fox even when it was sealed. That's quite impressive. Tsunade closed the distance between them. The older woman wasn't exactly towering, but she was as intimidating as any mountain. The third ability is an odd one. It's the ability to give others your life force via biting. Stupid, stupid, stupid. She should have sold this stupid rock when she had the chance. I don't think I have that ability. She was lying to the Hokage. Show me your arms. It was a command, spoken with absolute authority. Show me your arms, girl. Why was she doing this? This was torture. The woman already knew that she had the ability. It was written in the tone of her voice and the way those brown eyes bared down upon her. Slowly, Karin rolled up her sleeve, just enough to show the first of her many bite wounds. Happy? No. Tsunade grabbed onto her arm and rolled up the sleeve as high as it would go. You lied to me. If you knew, you'd just use me. Like they did back in the grass. Tsunade released her arm and turned back to the desk, pulling up another piece of paper. Karin Uzumaki competed on a team from the village hidden in the grass, wore glasses and had red hair. You know that the grass is an ally of the leaf, right? They were going to send her back. She felt sick, tears welled in her eyes, and her brave front was crumbling. Please, don't send me back. A pair of warm hands clasped onto her shoulders. Karin, I want you to relax. The grass hasn't asked for you, so we won't send you back. Karin looked up at Tsunade in a stunned silence. You're not. You saved Naruto's life, quite a few times apparently, and that damn brat wouldn't let me hear the end of it if I kicked you out of the village. This woman was completely different from the one that had just been grilling her for the past 10 minutes. Her chakra changed as well. It was less a stone wall, and more warm and friendly. Then why did you do that? I need you to be honest with me. I'm going to be your Hokage. And you lied to Jiraiya where you came from and again just now in regards to your healing ability, and don't worry, we're not going to make you use it if you don't want to. Tsunade smiled, reaching into her back and pulling out a headband. A leaf headband. This is yours if you want it. You'll be given the rank of genin. Karin touched the headband. Was she really? You want me to become a ninja? Relax. I won't make you fight if you don't want to. There are plenty of non-combat roles you can fill with your abilities: sealing, sensor team, medical ninja. You're a smart girl too, I'm sure you'll find some place for you to fit in. Tsunade shrugged, all but shoving the headband into her hands. It also makes things easier on my end. I can give you the same monthly stipend that all genin receive, and I can easily justify finding out a way to clear those bite marks up for you. Karin felt her fingers curl around the metal plate. It was cold but slowly warming up. She was a ninja again, but it was different this time. She had a choice. And she had Naruto. Allow me to be the first to say this. Welcome home, Karin. Tsunade gave her a tight hug that shoved her face into the Hokage's S. And thanks for bringing the brat back to us. Now go tell him he's free to go. I just wanted to keep him there so we could have a one-on-one. 4x. Tsunade let out a sigh as the girl turned to leave. She liked Karin. She was strong-willed and stubborn. And putting on such a tough act was exhausting, but she needed the girl to learn that trust was a mutual thing. Who knows what would have happened if they allowed her into the village and some grass shinobi recognized her. Now they could at least be prepared. Is that the fourth Hokage? Karin asked, pointing towards one of the pictures that hung above the door frame. Tsunade smiled. Yep, Minato was a good man and died before his time, but you'll have to take a crash course on our history later. And he's the one that sealed the Kyuubi into Naruto? Yes. Tsunade nodded, despite the fact that the Karin was fixated onto the photograph. He's Naruto's dad, isn't he? Damn, girl nearly gave her a heart attack. Jiraiya was right. Such a troublesome but useful girl. Yay. But don't tell Naruto, at least not yet. Why? Karin looked at her through those square glasses of hers. She had the perfect disapproving scowl that could make anybody feel guilty. I wasn't the one to start the secret, but I can understand why it was started and why we need to keep it until Naruto is a little bit more mature. Tsunade sighed, leaning onto her desk. The Kyuubi feeds off negative emotions. and because of the beast Naruto was looked down upon, in the village. He's had a hard life because of it. With how he is now, telling him that the man that sealed the beast into him was his father wouldn't be a good idea. Shouldn't you trust Naruto more? Just wait until his birthday or your anniversary date or something before you tell him, damn brat. Karin smiled as she left the room. Konoha is going to be a very different place with a girl like her hanging around. When she arrived at the hospital, all of Naruto's friends had dispersed, leaving only Naruto and that old pervert in the room. Their chakras were telling, Naruto was telling, and Jiraiya was resolute. The sun was getting low on her fast day in Konoha, and her stomach was empty. Naruto had to know of a good ramen stand around here, right? And then there was her new home, a place where she could spend all day and do nothing, where she wouldn't have to worry about stuff getting stolen, where she could just be happy. And she'd have Naruto there too, so that was kind of a bonus or something. For the first time in a long time, things were fantastic, no more traveling wandering around aimlessly. Home, she giggled at the sound of the word, feeling it tingle on her lips. Hey, Naruto, you're free to go, Karin announced, strutting into the hospital room, still warm from having so many people in it. Next to his bed, she pushed up on her new glasses, adjusting them and showing off her new headband. Tsunade made me a ninja too. Oh, Naruto lagged, like his brain was still short-circuiting. His eyes darted towards Jiraiya, then back to her, and he forced a smile onto his face. That's great, Karin. Something was off. Did he want nothing to do with her now that he had his memory back? Or was it something Jiraiya said? Well, I best be off, Jiraiya groaned, popping several joints with a stretch. He pulled out a stacked wallet and handed her a wad of cash. You two enjoy a night on the town, my treat. It hurt when he ruffled her hair like he was her grandfather. Remember Naruto, tomorrow. Jiraiya whistled a tune on his way out the door, sandals ching loudly on the tiled hallways. So, Karin looked towards Naruto, thumbing through the bills as she did so. There was a lot of cash here. What was that about? Oh, Naruto jumped, his eyes were so distant from the ones she had come to know. Jiraiya just wants to train me is all. Then why the hell are you moping around? Karin snapped, dragging Naruto off the bed by his shirt. We're home, you idiot. After running around for a month, we're finally home, so start being happy. So you're going to tell me what the hell is wrong? Right now. The terrified look on Naruto's face was not something she wanted to see often, but it did fill her with pride. I'm sorry, okay. I just remembered all the stuff that happened, like why you found me in a river. Oh, she was such an idiot. Of course he was going to be a bit different now that he had his memories. Even if he was still an idiot. Damn it, that didn't matter. He was her idiot and he wasn't allowed to change. Her throat burned, stomach twisted in knots. Was the Naruto with her gone forever? He had seemed so similar. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to snag words out of the air that would make everything better. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Your new glasses look cute on you. Karin opened her eyes. She was holding Naruto's face close to her own. She could kiss if she wanted to. Not that she wanted to, but it was just that she could, and he was smiling again, like he always did. She could see him so clearly, every detail of his adorable face was so crisp. And kind of cute in a way, and her face was hot, very hot. Her heart was racing. Why was his face so close? Oh, because she was holding him so close. Was she going to kiss him? She could, couldn't she? And she kind of wanted to. Right. It was normal and, Karin, Naruto asked. His face snapped back into focus. He really did have wonderful blue eyes. She dropped him like a rock. Holy crap, they were right. They were all right. She was in love with the blonde idiot she fished out of a river. All the hand-holding, the cuddling for warmth. She rested her head on his shoulder. All of it slammed into her with a sudden clarity. Every time someone asked if she was Naruto's girlfriend, not once did she bother to correct them. It was just easier that way, that's what she'd told herself, but now the thought of it made her stomach fill with butterflies. And now she was going to live with someone she loved. Was that going to make things awkward? No. Yes, maybe. What if Naruto didn't feel the same way? What if he did? They were only 13. Who lets 13-year-olds live by themselves and expect absolutely nothing to happen? Okay, it was fine. She just had to not do anything with him. Naruto was an idiot, so if it took her this long to figure it out, then it'd take him a few years to figure out his emotions. Or not. What the hell was she going to do? Karin. The world snapped into focus, and his face was very, very close to hers. He was standing that close to her on his own. Why was he so close? Was he going to kiss her? Would she let him? Yes. No. She needed a bath. He needed a bath. When was the last time either of them had brushed their teeth? Was it too soon? Are you feeling okay? Your face is all red. Was this some kind of a crappy romance novel or something? If he did the thing where he checked her temperature with his forehead, she'd probably die. Or kiss him. Both. I'm fine. She huffed. Turning away from him, she couldn't bear to look at him right now without feeling her face go flush. Why now? Couldn't this have waited for a better time? Not while this Naruto was still new-ish to her, even if he was the exact same idiot. His hand. With a snarl, she grabbed his hand, weaving her fingers between his, and began to pull him out the door. Why was she doing this? This was way too forward. There was no way that he could possibly not know that she had feelings for him if she did this. She had no idea if that was a good thing. Stupid hormones. Come on, I'm hungry. We're going to go get ramen, then you're going to show me around. Oh, I know just the place. Naruto pulled past her, almost pulling their hands apart. She locked her hand tight. He was not going to get away. You're going to like this place. They have the best ramen in all of Konoha. Oh, they might even give us a bowl on the house for coming back after so long. Man, the old man is great. Another old man. Karin scrunched up her face in disgust. Does this one drink too? What? No, that's just mostly the pervy sage, Tazunata, I guess, and Granny. I don't think I know anyone else that likes to drink like they do. Naruto smiled at her, bursting through the hospital doors. There was still something hidden behind that smile though, something that she needed to get to the bottom of. Oh well, that's good. Naruto did not need any more drunken perverts in his life. So, now that you have your memories back, what do you think about me? If this was a romance novel, he'd use this chance to confess to her. That's what she'd do. Maybe. Hopefully. Probably not. You're great, Karin. Honestly, you're one of the nicest people I know. You're also smart and funny, and you can put up with me being an idiot. He tried to pull away from her again. But why are you holding my hand? 'Cause I want to. Karin pushed up her glasses, trying to ignore the growing blush. You got a problem with that? No. He squeaked, submitting to her will like a good boyfriend should. But don't you think people will get the wrong idea about us? Especially with a guy like me. He looked down towards the ground, still pressing her forward. What the hell? Where did this come from? Naruto should have been larger than life, boasting about how awesome he is. Not this. You listen here, Naruto Uzumaki. You are a kind, funny boy, that's actually kind of cute. And any girl worth your time would be happy to be seen with you. Got it? He nodded, lips shut tightly and eyes wide. Thanks, Karin, that means a lot. Especially from you. Now would be the perfect time to tell him how she feels. He's already down, and if she told him that she loved him, then Naruto would realize that he loves her too and everything would be awesome and happy. Wait, no. Not now. She could find a better time, after he told her what was wrong. Then there was that whole fourth Hokage thing. 4x. Ichiraku ramen was heaven on earth. The earthly smell, the heavenly aroma. It was perfection. And it was cheap as well. Her mouth had started to water before she had even stepped inside the building. Naruto. A cute brown-haired lady shouted when they walked in. She dropped whatever she was doing, running around the counter to pull Naruto into a tight hug. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy you're alive. Hi there, Ayame. Naruto smiled, his body going rigged at the display of affection. I didn't mean to worry you guys, I just kind of got lost for a while. Oh, who cares? Dad, look, it's Naruto. Ayame stood up, a giant smile on her face, and tears in her eyes. Wiping her eyes, she spotted Karin, and then hers and Naruto's interlocked hands. And a smile full of mirth appeared. Oh, are you sure you got lost and weren't just busy because you had a new girlfriend? See, everybody thought that they were already a couple. Why disappoint the world? I'm Karin. I fished Naruto out of a river and have been stuck with him ever since. Hey, Naruto whined. Sounds about right. Ayame smiled, placing a finger onto her cheek and thumb under her chin. We gave him free ramen once and he's been here every day since. Naruto fumed. Hey, you guys make it sound like I'm a burden. Or something. Not a burden per se. Ayame began ruffling Naruto's hair. But you are kind of helpless. Karin finished elbowing Naruto in the shoulder. Alright, you two, enough teasing the boy. The old man from behind the countertop shouted. Ayame, you get back to work, while I whip up some ramen for Naruto and his friend. First round is on the house. Music to her ears. It could have just been the fact that she was hungry. It could have been that she was just too happy. It could have been because she was with Naruto. But for whatever reason it may be, Karin just could not stop eating the ramen that was a waterfall of flavor pouring into her mouth. We're eating here every day. Naruto hummed in agreement. A tower of bowls was building on the counter space between them. 4x. Naruto's home was a dump. But it was now their dump. Hidden away from the public by a series of stairs and alleyways, it almost felt out of place, like whoever built put it there just because they could. There was no yard, no mailbox, hell, they didn't even have a street address. She had never seen a more beautiful home. And just in time too, her feet hurt. The moment Naruto opened the door, she was inside of the modest dwelling. Even with a layer of dust that coated everything, it was still. Karin came to a dead stop. Her spine tingling and her stomach ready to eject the lion's share of her ramen up. What the hell is that smell? She pushed Naruto aside, desperate for fresh air. It smelled so foul. It was all she could do to keep her dinner inside of her. She did not want to have Ichiraku ramen spoiled for her by knowing what it tasted like coming up. Naruto said, emerging from his house, holding his nose in a garbage bag. Month-old garbage. The sun was getting low in the sky and now they had to scrub their home before it was even remotely livable. Damn it. Karin backed away from Naruto, staying as far away as possible as he walked the garbage down the stairs. One thing was certain. We need cleaning supplies. 4x. One trip to the store later, and about 2 hours of scrubbing, everything smelled of oranges and disinfectant. Karin let out a sigh, finally removing her cleaning mask. It didn't really help protect against the smell. She might have gone a little bit overboard, or a lot bit. It had started with just cleaning the kitchen, living room, then it progressed into a full cleaning of the house, which wasn't all that much space. But somehow it had the filth of a house several times its size. How goes the bathroom, Naruto? She asked, tossing the rag into the garbage. It had put up a valiant fight and achieved victory, but there was no recovering it. I didn't know my shower was white. He sounded so happy about that. But I think I'm done, probably. I don't know what clean looks like. He was such a boy, at least he was a good worker. Well, you can stop now, it's getting late. The sun had long since set, and tomorrow was another day in her new home. One that was going to be filled with more running around with Naruto and exploring the town, after he finished training with Jiraiya, that is. Wandering into Naruto's, their room, Karin bounced onto the small bed, feeling the clean sheets in all their crisp and slightly still warm glory. She was going to sleep so well tonight. Still, she was going to be bored in the morning. She should get some books. She had a month of reading to catch up on. Or find out what exactly Tsunade had in mind for her. No, oddly enough, all she wanted to do tomorrow was spend more time with Naruto. She had it bad for him, and it was the most amazing thing. So, Naruto stepped into the room, standing like a dork in the middle of it like he didn't belong. Where should I sleep? I could take the couch if you want. We'll worry about that later. Karin patted the bed beside her. But for right now, we have a lot to talk about. Naruto nodded, bouncing down next to her. So, what did you want to talk about? You've been kind of off since the hospital, and you're going to tell me what's wrong. His eyes went wide, before they fell again, locking onto the floor. It's about Sasuke. Who? The name sounded familiar. Wasn't that Naruto's teammate, along with Sakura? Wait, that was the name of the boy who saved her in the Forest of Death. My teammate, Naruto answered for her. He's kind of the reason why I ended up in the river where you found me. Now, I was fighting him because Orochimaru put this curse seal on him and was going to use Sasuke as his new body or something. That sounds creepy. Orochimaru, that was another one of the legendary Sannin, and the one that killed several grass ninja to sneak into the Chunin exams. Not that she'd cry over them, she was just lucky it wasn't her. Naruto nodded. Yep, but apparently he had to get a new body before Sasuke showed up, so now I have 3 years to rescue Sasuke. So that's what's bothering you? Karin flopped down onto with a sigh. She could probably recognize Sasuke chakra if she tried, but there was no guarantee. It already felt like a distant echo after bathing in Naruto's warmth for so long. Don't worry so much, I should be able to help you. Yay, I tried to tell Jiraiya that. That wasn't all, was it? The Sasuke news wasn't why he was so down. Jiraiya wants to take me on a training trip. Alone. Without you. What? Her voice cracked, head wiping up from the bed fast enough to knock her glasses off. What do you mean without you? Why the hell can't I come? Is there something wrong with me? Naruto backed away, looking like a guilty dog. Believe me, I don't want to go. Then don't. She grabbed onto his shirt, feeling whatever fury and strength that had spurred her on fading. You can train here in Konoha, just please don't leave. I have to Karin, he wants to teach me something that I can't learn inside the village. Naruto swallowed. And I need to get stronger. I promised that I would bring Sasuke back. You promised that you'd give me a home too. Well, it won't be home if you're not there. So either you're staying or I'm going. She was crying now. The excitement she had built up for herself came crashing down around her, burying her under a mountain of disappointment. I can't. Naruto touched her shoulders. I'm really sorry, Karin, but I just can't. It's because of the Kyuubi, isn't it? Karin snapped back to glare at him for a moment. I can sense it in you. Jiraiya wants you out of the village to teach you how to use it, doesn't he? Naruto's eyes went wide. You knew. Of course I knew, you idiot. I've known for a while, but it doesn't matter because you're still you. She buried her face into his shirt, pushing him down onto the bed with her. Her arms bound his waist. She was not going to let him go. Not now, not ever. She needed to make him trust her, to have him distrust them. Wait, that was it. They know who your father is, by the way, just like how they knew your mom was Kushina. Karin, it's the 4th Hokage, the one that sealed the Kyuubi into you. He's your father and they lied to you, never telling you who he was, keeping it a secret from you. She could feel his chakra. It was warm yet fierce, and the Kyuubi's chakra underneath it was storming. You can't trust them, Naruto. You can trust me though. Karin, that's enough. He pulled her into a hug. It felt nice, with his arms wrapped around her, and the rage in his chakra began to die down, even the Kyuubis faded. I have to do this, okay? And I promise I'll come back to you. Please. She hated how weak she sounded, how desperate she was. Was this how it was going to end? She needed Naruto in her life, his smile, his kindness, his warmth. Everything about him she needed. Would he stay if she told him that she loved him? No, that didn't matter. His mind was made up. He was going, and she was staying. Don't leave me. I'm sorry. Tears carried her towards sleep. When she awoke in the morning, Naruto had already left. Karin glared at the ugly creature that stared back at her in the mirror. It was ragged, with eyes stained with tears, and hair that was even more of a mess than it normally was. Somehow, after 2 days in bed eating proper food, she was in worse shape than she had been trying to survive out there. With Naruto. That was the difference. She should probably do something. Anything. Even just going outside would be more than she'd done since Naruto left. She should probably do that, it'd be good for her. That, and she was out of food. The ramen cups were piling up around the bed. Naruto was right, they really were the best food, cheap, quick, easy, filling, and tasty. Naruto. She gripped the countertop. That stupid idiot. How the hell could he just leave her here all by herself in the middle of Konoha? She didn't belong here, she belonged with him. Even if he was a stupid jerk bastard. Just thinking about him made her so. Her hands fell from the counter, and she leaned forward, her head pressing against the cold surface of the mirror. Apparently she was wrong, she still had more tears left. Stupid jerk. Come home safe, and fast. Just about 3 years left before he came back. She could live without him for 3 years. She did it for like 13 before she even met him. And she only knew him for like a month. So maybe after a month she'd stop missing him. A hand clutched at her heart. But, I don't want to stop missing him. Such a thing felt impossible, even as her happy memories of their time turned bittersweet. What would people say if she went out like this? Nothing but a mess, wearing her one set of clothes, that hadn't been washed properly in days, and her hair was a wild grease-covered mess filled with split ends. Did she even care? Not really. There was a knock on the door loud enough to make her jump and snap out of her thoughts. Her mind's eye sparked to life and she felt Konoha, all the warmth and joy that came from being within a true ninja village was open to her. The range closed in, masses of chakra became motes, motes became people. And people became familiar. It was Sakura, and one of Naruto's other friends. Female, strong, confidant. It must be the blonde girl. What the hell did they want? Sakura knew that Naruto was gone, probably. The girl spent a lot of time around the Hokage doing something and she was close to Naruto, so she had to know he was gone. Why the hell was she here? There was more knocking, louder this time. Karin. It was a muffled through the door. Great, they were after her. Maybe if she just didn't move they would leave. More banging. Karin. I know you're in there. Open the door or I'll knock it down. Violent woman. Fine. Karin growled, stomping out of the bath and slamming door, hopefully loud enough for Sakura to hear, and marched towards the front door. The house shook when she threw open the front door, likely leaving a mark on the wall. What the hell do you want? You look like shit, the blonde girl said. Ino, Sakura chided, smacking her friend in the chest lightly. Be nice. Again, what the hell do you want? Karin growled, running a hand through her tangled hair. I'm a little busy. Doing what? Sakura asked, smiling like a lion before a cornered rat. Moping around because Naruto left you to go on a training trip. Sakura took a step forward. Well, you're not the only one you know. I just got him back for maybe a day and then he's gone again. Him and Sasuke both left me here alone, and do you know what I'm doing? Threatening to break down people's doors. She really should try to be nicer to Sakura. She was Naruto's friend and teammate. But the girl just had a really punchable face. Ino snorted. Sakura huffed and folded her arms. Well, you weren't answering, and you really need to get out of the house. 2 days is long enough to mope around that Naruto left. Especially because we know that he'll come back. She did have a point. Fine, but what do you want? Well, Sakura scratched the back of her head, blushing slightly. Ino elbowed Sakura in the side, offering Karin a wink. Your boyfriend asked her to make sure that you feel at home and Sakura feels guilty. Oh, so that's how it was. Part of her was happy that Naruto was still trying to look after. The rest of her was filled with fury. She slammed the door shut, but it was stopped by an imposing foot. Hey, look, just give it a shot, okay? Besides, Master wants to speak with you later. Sakura was pleading, trying to stick her head in through the door. I'm really trying to be your friend here. Tsunade said that if we could have the day off if we spent it with you. Ino said from behind the door. The girl was starting to grow on her. Ino. Sakura shouted, turning her head back. You're not helping. With a sigh, Karin opened the door, allowing Sakura to stumble into her apartment. She met Sakura's green eyes with her own. Why does the Hokage want me? Well, I think she wants to train you alongside me and Ino. Sakura gave a nervous laugh. I think she might have been a little drunk. Still, it's technically my first day off, so what do you say? Ino snorted like a pig. Puli's forehead, you're the one that's been working your butt off, days off or not? Forehead? Karin asked, enjoying the annoyed look on Sakura's face. Just a nickname because of how big her forehead is. Ino waved it off like it was nothing. Karin stared at Sakura's forehead. It was rather large, especially with her bangs parted like that. Yay, I can see that. Sakura growled, knuckles cracking as her hands formed into fists. She grabbed Ino by her shirt, growling like a bear roused from a nap. Gee, thanks Ino pig, I appreciate you telling everybody about that embarrassing nickname. So, is she Ino pig because she oinks when she laughs? Or maybe it was just because of her name. Wasn't Ino a word for pig? That seems like a cruel name. The two girls stared at her. Ino's face was red. And Sakura looked to be fighting down a storm of giggles. Then she exploded, grabbing at her sides to keep the giggles inside her. Yep, that's pretty much it. Can it 4 eyes? Ino shouted, glaring at Karin, before turning to Sakura. And laugh it up, forehead, I'll get you back. 4 eyes, huh? She had been called that many times in the past, mostly by her own peers as they pushed and shoved her. But this felt different. There was a joy in it that brought a smile onto Karin's face. Her first smile since Naruto left. As fun as this is, what did you have in mind? The two girls shared a smile that would have swallowed either one of them whole, their bickering all but forgotten. Considering how you're new to town, and don't really have any clothes. Sakura began grabbing onto Karin's hand. She had really rough hands for a girl. We're going to take you out shopping. Spending money. One of her favorite activities, right next to fighting, watching paint dry, and getting bitten. Ino grabbed her other hand and they both began to pull her out the door. But first, a trip to the spa for a much-needed bath and makeover. 4x. She didn't stop missing him. Just 20 more months until he returned. Not that she was counting or anything. It was just constantly at the back of her mind like a calendar behind her eyelids. Sometimes it helped her focus, other times it made it impossible. Still, it didn't hurt so much anymore. Just bitter disappointment whenever she woke up and didn't feel his chakra nearby. Ino let out a groan, collapsing onto the couch like a dying star. I don't know how you two can do this all day. I'm starting to see medical texts when I blink. Karin looked up from her latest medical text about the application of healing missing tissue using hair as a medium. She met eyes with Sakura, a few blinks later, and the two just shrugged. It's like you say, Ino. Sakura has a giant forehead, so she has lots of room up there, and I'm a 4-eyed nerd that likes to read. Bitch. Ino groaned, opening one eye and flopping down onto the floor. So how are you guys doing with that seal thing? Sakura's hand flew to her forehead, rubbing at the same spot where Karin felt hers. It felt like there should have been more ceremony regarding one of Tsunade's most powerful techniques. Starting, it was easy, a bit of paint on the forehead and some instructions to never stop siphoning chakra to that location. It's doing fine, Sakura said with a smile, giving a weak laugh. It's just a bit draining. I didn't have all that much chakra to begin with. From the ground, Ino flailed, scrambling up to resume her spot at their table. What about you, Karin? Karin felt her cheeks warm. Well, the seal was originally designed by Uzumaki, so it might be a bit easier for me. Wait, what do you mean? I thought Master made the seal. Ino asked, grabbing at the bland crackers Shizune had given them. It was in the Advanced Medical Seals book, Ino. Sakura dug through the text, pulling out a boring yellow book that looked just like the rest of their books. It was developed by Mei Uzumaki, but its most famous user was Mito Uzumaki. Ino groaned onto the table. Both of you are able to do all of this so easily. Oh come on, you're doing just fine, Sakura said. Karin bit her lip. It wasn't that Ino wasn't trying. But, the girl's passions resided elsewhere, like she was only here so that Sakura wouldn't beat her. Not that Karin had room to talk. No, I'm not. I already failed to keep the seal going twice now. Ino whined. So, Karin raised an eyebrow. Shizune couldn't do it either and she's still a great medical ninja. Yay. Sakura joined in. Come on Ino, you can't give up now. I'm not. Ino shot back up, slamming her hands onto the table. I'm going to see this through and be more useful to Choji and Shikamaru. That was why those two were here. They were tired of feeling useless. Ino for Shikamaru and Choji. Sakura for Naruto and Sasuke. Compared to them, Karin was just kind of there. Sure, she wanted to help Naruto, but she already had a powerful healing ability in the raw transfer of life force. And aside from the scars she received, it was arguably one of the best ways to heal someone. And in Konoha, she wouldn't be forced to use that ability. Still, as a medic, she wouldn't be expected to fight. For now, this was the best path forward. 4x. A year and a half was all that separated her and Naruto's return. The other half shouldn't even been that bad. She had lots to keep her busy, between Tsunade's training picking up, work at the hospital beginning, and her still trying to find her role in Konoha. Ino now only joined the training and study sessions half as much as she used to, focusing on her other skills instead. Sad thing was that she was still probably one of the better field medics in Konoha. Karin hummed as she walked down the winding hallways of the Hokage Tower, arms full of reports that only needed to be signed with a quick note, after a brief read. The new system she had suggested was working out great, speed was up and overall paperwork was down. By the time Naruto became Hokage, she should have everything running at maximum efficiency. Using her back to push open the door, Karin spun into Tsunade's office. I brought the... Her voice died in her throat. She knew there was another person in here. She could feel their chakra. It was strong, and familiar. She should have remembered his chakra. She should have waited, instead of letting her status as the Hokage assistant get the better of her judgment. The head Junin of the village hidden in the grass turned to face her. Dull lifeless eyes staring at her with all the contempt he could muster as the corner of his mouth twisted upwards into a snarl. Ah, Karin, it is good you're still alive. He turned back to Tsunade. I'll be taking my ninja home as well. No, please no. She dropped the reports. She had been careless. So careless, she should have known he was coming the moment he stepped inside of Konoha. She should have remembered that violent chakra that made her want to vomit. His cruelness froze her to the bone. Excuse me, Tsunade asked, raising an eyebrow. We don't have any grass ninja held captive, nor any living within the city. He walked over to her, grabbing her by the wrist, holding it above her head like she was some prize he had just won. Ah, so she's been lying to you, this is K. Tsunade slammed her hands on the table, making the man jump. That is Karin Uzumaki, last queen of the Uzumaki, a loyal ninja of Konoha, and protected under the Third's proclamation that all Uzumaki refugees will be welcomed inside of Konoha. You can't be serious, this girl is a... The sound of Tsunade's heels tapping against the floor drowned out all sound. With a deliberate slowness that could freeze water, the Hokage walked in front of the tall man, glaring up at him. Despite her diminutive stature, Tsunade's confidence made her appear as a giant. That girl is my apprentice, my queen, and my ninja. Now, unless you want to risk war, one suggest you unhand her. For a moment Karin wondered if the man would do it. Or if Tsunade really would go to war for her. Then the Junin dropped her. Very well, Lord Hokage. With that he bowed and left. His face was full of fury and his chakra was a firestorm of anger. Karin placed a hand over her heart, feeling it beat violently against her chest. She felt ready to pass out at any moment. Thank you. Tsunade placed a hand on her shoulder and brought her into a hug. Don't worry about it, brat. That jerk was pissing me off anyways. Besides, even if he wasn't such an I doubt Naruto would be too keen if I let his fiancé get taken away so easily. Fiancé. Karin smirked. What happened to girlfriend? The older woman ced her teeth and released her from the hug. Well, you don't react when I call you that. Damn it, part of the fun of watching young love is teasing them about it. Sorry for spoiling your fun. Blah. Anyways, I have some things I want to talk to you about. Karin began to scoop up some of the scattered papers. Oh, such as, both the Intelligence Division and the T&I Division have accepted your request. Tsunade walked over to her desk, grabbing a pair of scrolls. All you have to do is choose.